Okay, if you just join us, we are doing trig equations in year 11 Math Advance. So particularly we're doing the all station to China, the good old ASTC, or if you read it back that way, it becomes cast as well. So you know how you go all station to China? Well, if you go that way, it reads cast. That's another one, by the way, as spelled out by the syllabus. So anyway, here's an example. Here's a simple example. If you have 2 sine x equals to 1, and you're told to solve this within the domain of x and 2 pi, I'm going to be brave and introduce radians there for you. And then what happens is that you have sine x equals a half. The whole idea is to make sine x equals k, cos x equals k, and tan x equals k, because then you can take the sine inverse, cos inverse, tan inverse, and work out what the answer is. That's the whole idea. So here you have 2 sine, make sine by itself. You then will take the sine inverse. So sine inverse of a half is actually pi on 6, because that's 30 degrees. So you have to know your radians as well, backwards and forwards. Then you use all stations to China. Well, there's one at pi on 6. There must be another one here, because that's all stations in the S quadrant. That's also pi on 6. So the answer is 5 pi on 6. And that basically is your answer. All right, now step it up a notch. So example 2. This is example 1. Let's say you have 2 cos squared x equals 1. Again, the same domain of 0 to 2 pi. You have to get rid of whatever's in front of the cos, becomes that. Then you take the square root of both sides. Now, one thing to note is that when you take the square root of 1 over 2, it's actually the square root of 1 over square root of 2. That's actually 1 over root 2. But do not forget, ever, whenever you do square root, think about if there's a plus and minus involved as well. So you've got to think about the plus and minus too. So in this case, there are 2 sets of solutions. The first one is cos x equals square root of 1 over 2. And the other one is cos x equals minus 1 over root 2. If you know your exact ratios, I picked this exact one. So x then equals pi on 4. And you have to look at all station to China. So there's pi on 4 here. And there should be another one here, because that's the one that's cos, that's positive. So that's pi on 4. But that's really 2 pi minus pi on 4 going all the way to here. So 2 pi minus pi on 4 is really 7 pi on 4. So that's the answer for this side. For this side, the you should have, when you use the calculator, it should be, if you use degrees, it will be 135 degrees when you use the calculator. And 135, as you know, is 3 pi on 4, which means that this will be pi on 4, this little angle here. And where else is it negative? Well, it's negative also in the tan quadrant. So that will be 5 pi on 4. And so you have to put all the answers together. So all your answers then for that is pi on 4, 3 pi on 4, and then pi on 4, 3 pi on 4, and then you've got the 5 pi on 4, and you got the 7 pi on 4. That's all your answers for that question. So that's a basic trig equations, and I'm going to stop there and jump on to the next